Hi, my name is Megan File, and this is my screencast. As I just said, my name is Megan File, and I am a freshman at Alma College. I am from South Lyon, Michigan, which is around the Detroit area, and I'm also on Alma College's women's soccer team. I'm planning on majoring in special education and minoring in mathematics. To start off, we're going to talk about what a criterion referenced test is. A criterion referenced test is a test that is designed to measure a student's performance against a fixed set of predetermined learning standards. If a student scores at or better the predetermined standard, then they are considered proficient. If a student falls below the predetermined average, they are considered non-proficient. As you can see, the image in the bottom right-hand corner is an image showing the amount of students that are proficient compared to below proficient. So as you can see the line, the students that fall to the left of the line are considered non-proficient, and the ones to the right are considered proficient. Now let's talk about a formative assessment. A formative assessment is methods that teachers use to conduct evaluations of students' comprehension, learning needs, and academic process. This is used daily to guide instruction in a whole and small group settings. It is also used to find out what concepts students are struggling with. The goal of these assessments is to find out how lessons can be made better. So as you can see, the diagram below shows what a formative assessment should be. So as you can see, it says it is a process. It should be planned. It uses evidence to make instructional adjustments and or verifying learning. And it involves giving specific student feedback that is turned into student action. What a formative assessment is not is it is not a one-time thing. It is not unplanned. It is not moving on or spending more time on a topic regardless of evidence, and it is not grading. Now, a summative assessment is a little bit different than a formative assessment. A summative assessment is used to evaluate students' learning, skill acquisition, and academic achievement at the end of a time period. This is typically at the end of a project, unit, semester, or school year. These tests are generally recorded in the student gradebook as like a grade. These assessments also determine whether the students have learned the objectives they were expected to learn. So these happen at the end of a time period. Yeah. Now moving on to triangulation. Triangulation is the process of a teacher gathering data about a student's learning. There are 3 different areas to gather data from. 1, conversations, 2, observations, and 3, products. Now, the purpose of triangulation it allows the teacher to see what students are struggling with the most, allowing them to incorporate more of that in their classroom. So let's say a teacher is observing their students and they see some students struggling with speaking skills, like with conversations that they're having with their peers. The teacher might incorporate more things that involve the students interacting with each other, like, for an example, presentations in front of the class. Now moving on to the Brigance Math Assessment. The Brigance Math Assessment measures a student's math level and determines what grade level they are performing at. The student is given questions starting at the first grade level, and they move through them until they get to the high school level. Now they keep reading through and answering these questions until they get 2 questions wrong in the same section. So there's 5 questions in each section, so they need to get at least 4 out of the 5 correct to move on to the next grade. So whatever grade level they are stopped at is a grade level at which they fall at. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, when I gave my student a Math Brigance test at my placement, I gave them the Math Brigance test to a student who was in 8th grade. We did the questions, and they started out pretty strong through the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade level, pretty consistent, getting 5 out of 5. But then once they reached the 4th grade level, they started to take a dip where they got only 4 out of the 5 questions correct. But then when they got to the 6th grade level, they stopped there because they only got 3 out of the 5 questions correct, which means that they fell at the 5th grade math level. Now, planning instruction regards to the Math Brigands test. So the questions that the student that I tested, they did very well with the other questions. They just struggled when it came to adding and subtracting fractions. The correct approach to this would be to work more with fraction-related problems. So to practice more adding and subtracting fractions in the classroom, and then moving on to the other material. So a sample lesson plan based on these results from the student in the Math Brigands test demonstrates that it would be most beneficial to the student if the teacher's lesson plan would include fraction-related problems, as we said before. In addition to these problems, these problems should be taught in a way that fits the student the best. In this case, the student who I was working with is more of a visual learner, and they like to see everything out in front of them. So a way that this could be taught is by using like a hands-on method. So using hands-on pieces that represent the fractions to add and subtract them. That way they can visually see it and get the most out of the lesson. So in the end, I have learned that a lot more goes on in the teaching than just the required material that the students are required to learn. Not only are teachers looking to improve students' learning in subjects, but they are also looking to improve other things such as speaking skills. So teachers are not only looking to teach the basic material, they're also trying to look for areas that students struggle in, such as communication, body language, and help them adapt that so they're more successful later on in life. So what does this all mean? So this means that teachers should teach the basic fundamentals before getting in the detail about a session. So teachers shouldn't go straight into the unit. They should be going in a basic, broad direction about the topic before getting into detail about the lesson. In addition to this, teachers must be open to new ideas and strategies to help the students learn a new material. I know some teachers might be, oh, you have to teach this way, and everything has to be learned in this way, but teachers need to be open to different learning styles, such as using more hands-on things, and using different learning methods that will be more beneficial to the students. In addition, and lastly, teachers must allow plenty of time for the learning process to happen. This isn't going to happen within 5 minutes. It's going to take a lot of time for teachers to realize what different learning styles best benefit their students. So it's something that's going to happen over time. But once they recognize what or how the students best learn, then everything will be good. They just need to be aware that it takes time for this all to happen.